A stoush has broken out over research that challenges whether green certified homes are actually warmer, drier and healthier than a typical new build, as is claimed. The study by two Auckland University researchers measured indoor temperatures of 30 social houses, including Homestar properties with a 6-star rating, compared to code-compliant new builds and older homes. During winter, the research found the Homestar-rated houses spent 56% of the time below the World Health Organisation's recommended temperature of 18 degrees. The newly built code-compliant homes dropped below that temperature 64% of the time, a difference the researchers say is statistically insignificant. In summer, the 6 Homestar-rated houses chronically overheated 75% of the time, compared to 58% of the time for the non-certified houses. The Homestar rating system, run by the Green Building Council, is supposed to measure the health and energy efficiency of a home, and the council claims a 6-star rating or higher means the home will be easier and more cost-effective to keep warm and healthy than a typical new house built to building code. One of the researchers, Rochelle Aid, alleges that since sharing the results that challenge the rating system, the Green Building Council has been trying to undermine the study and her personal reputation. We spoke earlier and I started by asking what the implications of her study are.
The Commerce Commission has just recently issued some environmental guidelines explaining how companies that sell products or services have to have evidence that backs up their claims if they're making claims around the environment. It's really clear to people that this would apply to things like free-range eggs or, say, heat pumps. But in the context of green building, do those guidelines also apply to their claims? So if the academic evidence that we have discovered shows that the 6 Homestar ratings weren't performing in the manner that is claimed, is that a breach of those guidelines and maybe a breach of the Fair Trading Act? It could be some serious implications for architects, engineers, banks, anybody who has been repeating these claims about 6 Homestar.
So is the Homestar rating system, is it a gimmick?
I wouldn't call it a gimmick. It certainly came from a good place. I know this because I was involved in creating the system in the first place. And I've worked as a Homestar assessor for many years. If I was going to put my hand on my heart when I started my doctoral research, I was hoping that my evidence would prove complementary to the rating tool. However, the opposite unfortunately appeared to be the case, and the evidence that we gathered through real-time data loggers and actual measurements of the houses has proven contrary. Now, to be clear, this was a case study of 30 houses in Auckland, so the findings are at this time limited to social housing in Auckland. I believe they could be replicated across different social housing in Auckland, but I wouldn't want to say that these findings would be found, say, in Wellington or Christchurch at this time. And that really shows, though, that we need to do more research in this space. We need to know how these houses are performing in Christchurch and Wellington. Are the 6 Homestar dwellings that Kāinga Ora are currently building and rolling out around the country, are they providing warm, dry, comfortable houses for the occupants? We don't know. No one's measured them.
Okay, so Kāinga Ora has made a commitment to have these certifications, this Homestar certification on new builds. Should they be going ahead, given what you've found in the research, particularly if it costs us more?
That's a really tough question. I personally, if you're asking for my opinion, I don't believe they should be using 6 Homestar. I think they should be using a standard that has an evidential basis. And there are other standards out there that have been proven to work. Worldwide, there is some really excellent academic research that's been undertaken on the passive house standard, and that has been proven to deliver warm, dry, comfortable, energy-efficient homes. The only research that's been done on Homestar at this point in time is my research. It hasn't found findings that support the claims of Homestar at this time. That's not to say that additional research in the future may not support the claims, but all that's out there at the moment is our research, which did not find in accordance with the claims of Homestar.
So, you as a person who was involved in developing the Homestar rating system has found it to be significantly flawed upon closer inspection.
I have found that it didn't, or we have found, because I'm not the only researcher here, we've found that it didn't deliver for the houses that we studied on the claims that have been made. Now, was that because the tenants were not heating the dwellings? So I do believe the Green Building Council would never claim that they'd can be no application of heating to deliver warmer temperatures in a 6 Homestar-rated dwelling. That could be the case. However, that's a real concern in a social housing context because social housing tenants suffer from fuel poverty. If the tenant can't afford to apply additional heating to a dwelling, they're going to be cold. Now, what social housing tenants need is a thermal envelope that's going to be warm, dry and comfortable, even if they can't afford to heat their houses or cool their houses. That's not what they're getting. Our research showed that's not what they're getting at this time.
Have you shared this research with the Green Building Council?
I have shared this research with the Green Building Council. That's a little bit of a drama point at the moment, shall we say. So they are aware of the research. We have been talking offline about the research, but I was recently made aware that the New Zealand Green Building Council has written a document and has sent it around to different organisations, one of which sent it back to me, which attempts to position the research as biased and says that I support a different standard and that's why my research findings find the way they do. And even more concerning for me was the fact that it asked for that document to be confidential, kept confidential between the recipients and the New Zealand Green Building Council, giving myself no right of reply to the accusations in this document. So they are aware of the research, that we've tried to engage a little bit around it, but I wouldn't say that there's a great relationship present at the moment.
Why would they do that, do you think?
I genuinely don't understand. I really couldn't comment on why this document was written. My guess would be they feel threatened by the research. So it didn't present findings that support the narrative. It found against the narrative, and it's a very strong narrative. If you look at the media, and I'm going to say you because you all report all the time that Homestar's warm, dry, energy efficient, it's the way of the future, we all need green buildings. But this piece of academic research hasn't supported that particular narrative. Now, when you look at a Green Building Council, and this is all around the world as well, how do they make their money? They make their money through memberships, they make their money through training to do with the green building rating tools, and they make their money through accreditations. So if people don't think the rating works, they're not going to pay to be trained in it or apply it and pay for certifications. And if that's all that they deliver to the market, then why would you be a member? So if research isn't supporting the claims and people start to fall away from the Green Building Council, they could cease to exist. So I would guess maybe they feel threatened. What I would hope is that we can all work together to fix this and to redevelop rating tools that actually do what they deliver.
Before we go, Rochelle, have you got any conflicts of interest, given what you've raised there about what's been circulating and your prior involvement with this particular system? Do you have any conflicts of interest that you feel you need to declare?
I don't believe so. As I said, I helped create the rating system. I was hopeful the research would support the tool and help get some greater adoption. So to find the opposite was actually quite shocking for me. Now, I've been personally through a 3-year journey of trying to assimilate this myself and work out what works and what doesn't work. So I had to leave the company that I used to do the Homestar assessment work for as well because of this research. So I no longer work as a Homestar assessor. I have no ties to it. And this is just unbiased academic research that has been published in academic journals.
And that is researcher Rochelle Aid, and Dr. Michael Ream from the Property Department at the Business School at Auckland University is her co-researcher.